Good afternoon, everyone. It has been a pleasure listening to all the young people sharing their viewpoint on various issues relating to development and youth engagement. It's very insightful, and I was listening on, and it was very inspiring to hear those the initiatives that were taken by young people. So as introduced, my name is Kasunjith. I'm a person with disability myself, and I have been working with the disability rights advocacy work for the last 5 years, and it's very. I'm delighted to be here to have have basically discussion in terms of how to be more disability inclusive in the work that you guys are doing. Uh, uh, I would like to first, since you guys were having a very lengthy sessions going on, I would like to start off by asking the audience a few questions, and we'll gradually get into business. Just wanted to ask you guys: have you ever heard the word persons with disabilities, and the terminology that was used by some people, which says,
Mr. Kasunjith,
yeah,
if I may interrupt you for a moment,
yeah.
When the audience replies, will you be able to read their answers of the chat box, or shall I
It
read it
would be
out for you?
no. It would be easier if you can they can raise the hand and unmute them. It
All
would
right,
be that.
okay. All right, okay.
Yeah.
We'll make sure that happens. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I just wanted to ask, ask you guys whether you have heard the term persons with disabilities and persons with different able persons. Uh, which term have you been? Have you been using so far? Is my question. Happy to take up. Happy to have a discussion with about that, because terminology, disability sensitive terminology is very important in terms of being more inclusive. That's why I wanted to ask you that question at the start.
If you have any questions for Mr. Kasunjit, you may raise your hand on Zoom, so we can unmute you and you can reply to Mr. Kasunjit.
Seems like there's no question. So I asked this question because I felt I have heard people using the term differently able a lot, which has been
Hello, sir.
Sorry.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Actually, the good question for me. Most loving person in this world is disability people.
Okay.
So I am proud to say I met a lot of people, disability peoples.
Okay.
I am going through the handicaps weekend days and
Okay.
seeing disability people and thinking how we created from God and how they are created. Most
Okay.
of things when I visit that area, disability area, I can see.
Okay. Okay.
My
Okay.
opinion from me.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah. So the correct terminology to be used is persons with disabilities. Let me give you a background as to why this term came to existence over the term that was used previously, differentiable, because the disabled community came together and came to an agreement, persons with, that we are happy to accept the fact that we have a disability and we are a part of the diversity of the mother nature, and therefore and we were created differently by the god, uh, because we deserve, there's a diversity that is happening, and you should accept the fact that you are a person with disability, rather than try to sort of make it, try to sort of use different terminology and sort of not the sort of divert from that reality. So that's why, and this was agreed upon in the first ever conference on first ever UN conference in 2001, and they regarding disability. So now we use the word persons with disability, and why do we need persons with disabilities to be included? Because what is actually inclusion? Inclusion means that you
Here. Mr. Kasunjith, your connection is lagging out a bit.
persons
Hello.
disabilities also have the same rights and liberties and freedom as other social activities, and all human being is part of. Can you hear me?
All right, now it's better, Mr. Kasunjith.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now it's all right. Continue.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Just one. I was saying that the persons with disabilities should be included in the society, because as other non-disabled peers, and should have all the rights and liberties, and every should be able to engage in every social activity that the non-disabled friends uh, can engage in, and that is what we call inclusion. So a lot of people misunderstand inclusion to uh, 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 inclusion, and they seem to tokenize people, and they try to claim that they have included persons with disabilities in the work they are doing, but be it in the NGO sector, be it in the youth sector, because a lot of people think that persons with when you have a person with disability representing the inclusion discussion table, just by the fact that they are physically there, that means that you have included persons with disability in the discussion, which is not the case, because if you take a person with hearing impairment, the he uses sign language, and if you don't have a sign language interpreter supporting him or assisting him in uh, actively engaging in the discussion, that doesn't just by the mere fact that he is present at the discussion doesn't mean that he is uh, given respect and equal opportunity to engage in the discussion. So basically it's very important to understand inclusion in a more practical level, rather than to sort of have them just because you feel like you should have persons with disabilities and not engage them. They should be given opportunity to engage in a more active manner by supporting an inclusive environment and reasonably accommodating them. If you when it comes to reasonable accommodation, it's very important that when you guys, if you guys engage in activities with persons with disabilities and have invite them forums, you try to have a discussion with the person with disability that you interact with beforehand, and maybe ask them and see whether what kind of reasonable accommodation needs that they have, because when it comes to disability, there are very diverse type of disabilities that exist. Therefore, it's best if you can check and verify with the person with disability himself as to what their reasonable accommodation needs are. Sometimes person when you interact with a person with disability, a lot of non-disabled people get a bit of, I mean, they become a bit excited, and if you happen to uh, interact with a person with disability, you should not be excited. You should take it be calm and be respectful, and try to treat him in an equal manner. And it's very important that uh, mm, uh, persons with disabilities also uh, get uh, equal treatment in terms of engaging in your youth activism and youth work. So if you can look at trying to find trying to find persons with disabilities in your respective countries, and in the vicinity and in your villages, and talk to them and be a buddy, and support them, empower them, and make him your friend. That is what you can practically do in terms of being a advocate and a uh, advocate for disability inclusion. And it's very important that you also look at when it comes to sustainable development. Of course, you can't there's this notion that you can't leave anyone behind. So it's very important when when you do sustainability projects, you include persons with disability and take specific measures. uh, if Disability inclusion has two tracks. One track is you look at inclusion as a whole, and you include people with disabilities in the mainstream program. For instance, if you take education, uh, you have uh, persons with disabilities in the same classroom as others, and try to reasonably accommodate their experience and support them to be equal in a classroom. But sometimes persons with disabilities need specific measures, so you will have to look at it in a practical way, and look at what is suitable at the particular juncture, and you will have to support them accordingly. So you should not take decisions regarding or affecting persons with disabilities without their presence. And we go by the term that nothing about us without us. It's very important that you always consult your persons with disabilities in taking decisions that matters to them. And you should look at uh, disability as a cross-cutting issue, and you should look at disability with open mindset, and you should look at
Excuse me, Mr.
uh,
Kasunjith.
sorry. Sorry.
Mr. Kasim,
Yeah.
I wanted to say that our time is running a bit short, and if you can wrap up now, just wanted to ask
Okay.
kindly.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you very
And
much. Yeah.
will there be any time for questions also? No.
We have run short of time now, sir, so no questions can be entertained.
Okay. Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, it's fine. You can share with the participants my contact details so that they can also reach out to me. Uh, it's very.
Definitely, sir, that will be done.
I mean, what you can practically, what you can practically actually do is to be a more engaged and more passionate. Inclusive advocate in terms of disability inclusion is to look at them with an open mindset and make sure that you go the extra mile to make the practical inclusion happens, and you can make a change through that. And it's very important that you should not leave anyone behind, and when in your journey of making it a better place. And it's very important that you uh, treat them as your brothers and sisters without with no stigmatization, and you will have to be the voice for them in the society, and make others aware also as to how inclusion should happen. And in policy development and high level empowerment, it's very important that you be the change maker and voice out your opinion, and support the persons with disabilities in getting their uh, policies and registrations uh, through, and look at disability as a cross-cutting issue, and try to mainstream it in each and every work, policy, be it advocacy, or any kind of work that you guys are doing through your organization. Thank you very much. Pleasure talking to you. Thank you, and thank you for citizens for inviting me, and thank you very much.